I really should have recorded these the final 4 vlogs last night, even if it would have taken me till 4 in the morning, because each one takes 45 minutes in between to load. Because this morning I'm so dehydrated from all of the allergy medication that I'm gonna turn to dust and blow away right in front of your eyes. So I'm trying to hydrate. There's no coffee in the mug, sorry, because that's just gonna dehydrate me more. And therefore I'm gonna be a little bit down and maybe gloomy. I could be gloomy. I do get gloomy. Maybe not necessarily on these vlogs, but I do. That's the real me. Anyway, although you don't want to know that. You don't want to know. You don't want to know who I am. It's all right. Let's see. I want to make this sort of really a fun experience for the for what could be the last vlogs that I do for Bitten by Books. I mean, the Save Amanda Farrell campaign is going crazy. It's like it's all over the internet, and but we won't know. We won't know for a couple months whether it's all been just talk. Whether people just like to talk or whether they're actually buying the books. Who knows? Battle of the Network Zombies is out today though, and you can go get that at all the usual places. But Happy Hour of the Damned is the one they're looking at. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. The mass market paperback is probably the way to go. Pick up some for your friends. Do that. Anyway, plus if you win this, you're gonna have to get the other 2. I feel like it's just a sales thing, isn't it? It's all just a sales gimmick. But anyway, let's talk about filth. Because really, when you got a headache and you're dehydrated, there's nothing better to do than talk about people eating poop and things like that. And I have said before, I think, on these vlogs, that a big inspiration for me and my writing, and it's not just for this series, because I'm writing another, I am writing a YA series that does have a certain level. It is definitely going to push the envelope a little bit. But I have another adult urban fantasy series in the pipe, which is not an asshole reference as far as you know. But it's set between Hollywood and the California desert, and it's about sort of drugged out starlets and drug dealers and stage moms and vampire gangs, oddly enough. And sort of when I say vampire gangs, I'm talking about the Warriors from the 80s, like the themed gangs, like the Hi-Hats and the what was that? The Baseball Furies. Those kind of. I don't know if have you ever seen that? I'm just questioning that. You know what? Talk about it in the comment thread. I just had to watch the Warriors last week. Loved it. I loved it again. I saw it in the 80s, obviously. Anyway, but filth, and I think the biggest. The biggest influences on me for filth have been John Waters, obviously. If you don't know anything about John Waters, you need to Netflix the guy. And I would start old. Or maybe start newer, like Serial Mom. Do Serial Mom, Hairspray, Crybaby. Those 3 are pretty commercial, but they have a lot of sort of filthy undertones in them. But I think that they're really tame. But they're funny, but they're really tame. So when you look at them, and if they're disgusting you, don't go any further back. Because the stuff that really inspired me was the work that he did in the 70s with Divine, who was sort of a 300-pound drag queen. And and here's a picture of her. There you go. That's Divine. And she always played women in his movies, but in Hairspray she played both. She played a man as well. But some of the dialogue that I write, particularly in the 3rd book, because I've tried to work up to it, has been really influenced by the way he writes dialogue. And there's a whole section in there where Amanda's arguing with her assistant and with her boss, her silent partner / boss. And it's like when I read that back, I finally nailed it. That's exactly how I want it to sound, because it's so got this Baltimore apathetic ugliness that John Waters really does so well. And so I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm just hoping that it hits the mark for you. It does. It hits it for me, and really that's all I can do is hit the mark for myself. But so what is filthy? Because it's not just a matter of something being like someone eating poop. I mean, obviously that's filthy, that's gross, that's disgusting. But it's how you paint the world. So I know you notice in the book that, in any of the books, that when things are described, they're described as though all of the beauty has been sucked out of them. Like I've taken some sort of like a turkey baster and just sucked it straight off the page. And that's what I wanted to do with all of it. I wanted to take particularly with Seattle being very, very touristy and seen as this place that's just like kind of like a good time, you know, lots of people having fun together. I wanted to show that Seattle really is way darker than that. There's a big disturbing element going on in Washington. I talked a little bit about that before in other places, but I wanted to make it filthy. I mean, we have massive tent cities here of homeless people. Massive. It's crazy. And so if I can describe something, I mean, if this isn't just a yellow legal pad, you know, it's urine colored, you know, it's got to have something sprayed. That I was talking to some people at a conference about Chuck Palahniuk, and Chuck Palahniuk's the author of Fight Club and Haunted and Rant and some other really very awesome books. And what they said was that he had a discussion when he first submitted his work to a New York publisher. He turned in the manuscript and they were like, oh, this is really good. However, it's too much. It's too disgusting. People are not going to put up with how you've described things. It's horrible. This much is horrible. You need to fix these things and then give it back to us. He said, and I believe he went back and told his writing group what had been said, and the consensus was, and what his first instinct was, he needed to dip the entire thing in urine and send it back to them. And not literally, obviously. He needed to go even more over the top to make a difference, to make himself stand out from everyone else. And I kind of follow that same framework. And if it disgusts people, it does. And if it doesn't, then, good for you. You're one of my people. But the books aren't for everyone. And that's one of the biggest issues with keeping them around, I think. So, but that's filth. That's my discussion of filth. And I love filth. I can laugh till I pee myself, till I shit myself. I swear to God. Not really. Although, you could. So, that's it. What do we talk about next? Maybe we'll go straight into zombies. Something fun, because when we talk about satire, that's going to be, maybe that might be a little heady. I don't know if we'll even do that. Anyway.